talk about who John is, his character.
Are you asking
You want to
me?
go first?
Yeah, I think
go
everybody
first? Yeah, I'll
kind of
go
has
first.
a take.
Well, John is first of all, John was the root of my involvement in the project because I like I said before, I knew the character before I knew the plot. And John is a loner. He's socially maldeveloped. Just doesn't take the step to try to meet people. And what I was talking to Tonia about throughout the production, John works in an office and he never goes out for drinks after work with the colleagues who are always going out for drinks, and he wants to, but he's just too shy. He wants to hang out with the cool kids. And what we find out throughout the film, spoiler alert, is that the cool kids are actually a bunch of jackasses.
Yes.
Well, I think,
Who
the cool
are
kids
reasonable-
As they always are.
Yeah.
Right.
In
you
real
know,
life.
I mean, you could take these same characters that John works with in this film and put them in a comedy along the lines of Office Space. You know, all the people you don't want to be with, but you have to work with them. But in John's mind, they're the cool people. And that was so informative to me about who John is. He is such a loner, so isolated, so socially distant from human contact, that those losers are the cool people in his world. And when he does finally get to hang out with them, the audience gets to realize, no, these are just jerks. You know, so that's John. He's just socially awkward, socially not weak until he gets the book, and then things change.
That was always really important to me, though, is that it'd be really easy to call John a loner loser in the beginning, and then you see the coworkers who we say nothing of value through the entire film. Like, there's never anything that's actually interesting or good that comes out of any of our mouths the entire film. But that was always really important to me, was that John, it'd be really easy to call him a loner or a loser in the beginning, but then as you get to know his coworkers and as you get to know John, you see he's just like a nice guy. There's really nothing wrong with John at all. And so one thing about your character is Kyle, he definitely is a jerk to John in the beginning, but like he gets worse as John's confidence rises. Like, I think you get,
Well, see, as myself as a person, I look at John, I actually see him as the everyman.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Yep.
the everyman.
He's not a loser.
You're not a loser. You are the epitome of what all of us really are inside.
Yep.
Even those jerks
Yes.
in the
Yes.
movie. Because if they didn't have their little clique, none of them would have the arrogance and confidence and stupidity and jackassness, as you put it, to be that way.
Yeah.
So I look
Right.
as your character, really, he's going to connect with so many more people because we've all been there. You almost remind me of the new kid in town.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even you've been there
New
what,
guy.
5 years.
And they call him New Guy.
Yeah, and you're not, and you remind me of everybody's been the new person in some situation where you're like that. And yes, of course, always the one that click. They always look so cool, and then you get around them, and they're nothing but a bunch of
Yeah.
a-holes. Every single time, like I don't want to be them. I don't want to be around them. But Kyle, I think he looks at you. Of course, he thinks you're his bitch at first. But then, yes, the more that you start to become more normal to him and people like you, I think Kyle gets jealous. I think Kyle gets really, really angry about it because Kyle isn't friends with everyone. Kyle isn't being invited to the party. I mean, I'm a party. Why wasn't I invited to the party?
Right.
So I think Kyle just gets extremely envious and jealous of you by the end. That's why his rage grows, is because Kyle was also essentially you. He's just the boss, but he was essentially the same as you in every aspect. He wasn't a part of the clique. He wasn't welcome in the groups, and he was angry about it. And you were actually trying really hard, where Kyle's arrogance was, I'm the boss, I should just automatically
Right.
be instilled with all these people. So I think he just grew a rage because he got so jealous of you.
That's really interesting because when we shot the scenes, I never thought of that rage as coming from that kind of jealousy. I thought of it as, don't step up to me, I'm the boss. And also, it was obvious that I was interested in your woman.
I felt more like it was a little brother, big brother scenario where big brother had been the man for a while and little brother all of a sudden is taken over and big brother cannot handle that.
Right. But from my point of view, it was just, don't you overstep, I will squash you.
Right.
Don't threaten my authority. And to John, that's what it was until John finally does what he does at the end of the.
Now, I've got a question for
What do you think
Tanya.
about Rick?
So when you wrote that, Tonya, did you have all this complexity in mind, or did these guys bring that to your project?
Oh, I think they totally. I mean, it's super exciting and fun to like listen to them talk about it and everything. But I definitely wanted the change. I definitely always said that I wanted Kyle to like get meaner as John's confidence went up. Like I definitely wanted that. But of course, they added a lot to it. You know, of course, because you know. But I was going to ask you, what do you think about John? Like from somebody who isn't playing a part in the movie, but like you were there for the whole, like every step of the way. What do you think about John? Like, who is John to you, Rick?
Yeah, I think John is me. John, I think that's the as a viewer of the film, you're living. The film is through John's eyes, right? So he's the protagonist clearly. And it's something that everybody can identify with. I think everybody can say, well, I mean, most people, okay, let me rephrase that. I think the people in our community are weird. We're, right?
It's a very cliquey kind of area.
It's weird.
It is.
We're weird, and we're seen as outcasts, and that's... John, in the beginning, you say he's a lovable loser, but I think he was the cool kid. He was into magic. He's got he's like like a nerd, and he's got these things that he's really passionate about. And just because nobody else knows about it or even sees it as value doesn't mean that he's any less cool. I mean, look at the lunchbox, you know?
Right, the
He's a hipster. He's the coolest guy in the world.
Such a confident introvert.
Yeah. And I think there's probably a large audience out there that is into these indie movies, are going to identify with John and put him in put him in your heart and go through the change with him.
Cool. I hope so. That's exactly what we were hoping.
That's interesting because one of the things we talked about that is very specific when you first approached me about this, and here's the character John, and he gets into magic, and that changes how he behaves and stuff. And I thought, okay, so he's a magic aficionado, and he's always practicing magic at home. And you said, no, he watches magicians online and on TV, but he doesn't do magic himself. And again, that was another thing that defined the character for me. He's so insecure, even though he's the nerd that everybody loves. Everybody's got that. You think about people who play Dungeons and Dragons and do cosplay and stuff. John doesn't even have the confidence to go do cosplay. You know, he won't sit home and practice doing a French drop. You know, he won't sit home and do that, even though there's no social risk in that. That's how much he lacks confidence.
If you put a sword in anybody that plays Dungeons and Dragons, an actual sword in their hand, I don't think they're going to do very well.
Exactly. But John wouldn't even meet up to play.
You get a real fucking dragon or whatever, you're not going to do very well. I mean, you could be whatever it is in the game, but...
I think
that's so funny.
I think Nick and I would. We'd be okay.
Nick would be fine.
Yeah, I've got a pile of swords, though.
Yeah. I took fencing in college, but still, I would run.
I saw John as a bit androgynous and invisible, and then all of a sudden, once he got some confidence, that kind of fell away.
Androgynous, like girl boy?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Not manly at all, and then all of a sudden, it's like that elevator. Yeah, tell us about the elevator with your wife. How did you like that? Did you guys practice that a little bit?
Is that too much spoiler?
Well, we're spoiling, but I have to say something about Christina. Like, she is, I get, the elevator girl is his wife. And I got a hold of her and I was like, look, so I need a girl to make out with this guy here, with your husband. And, I don't know anybody better than that. And she's like, I appreciate that. And so yeah, she was happy that she got cast. She was perfect, of course. She did a great job.
That is one of
so
the funniest.
Cute.
That scene is so hilarious.
Love it.